Hello my dear brothers and sisters, welcome to Paradise. I'm Ismat. Recently I have seen a video, it's a YouTube shorts. It actually caught my attention because the title of that video was, "If you are a Christian, can you explain this?" She is a Muslim and this is the question she had for Christians. She went on reading two verses, one from Deuteronomy and another one is from Ezekiel. So this is what she was reading from Deuteronomy chapter 24 verse 16. "The father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin." And then Ezekiel chapter 18 verse 20. "The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him." And she went on saying, and I'm going to quote her, she said, "We know that our Christian brothers and sisters believe that God is a Trinity and that His only Son, Jesus Christ, to die for our sin. The Bible clearly says that that wouldn't happen. So please help." So I'm going to answer this for her, and this is the video is all about. And there are a few things that she had mentioned, and I'm going to go over them with you one by one. It does not matter what religion you are from. If you have the same question, when it is being said that Jesus to die for our sin, He removed our sin with His blood so we can go to heaven, these sayings that are there, and I want to clarify as to what this really means. So it's for clarification. It's not to try to correct anybody, because she said help. So she wanted to understand. So if you also want to understand, I would say that you'll find this video helpful. When Jesus came to earth, when He was doing His mission work, He was going around and telling the people the wisdom of God, and He was sharing what the message of the cosmos that He brought for us. And prior to Him, there are other messengers came doing the same work and bringing the same messages of God. So as He was preaching, as He was bringing these messages, He was not welcomed by majority of the people. And the reason for that is whatever He was bringing, the truth of God, these all sounded very foreign to the people at the time. This is what has happened throughout the history of religion, that one prophet comes and the prophet explains the truth of God and how to bring them back to purity and so on. And as these prophets, they are gone from earth because of the evolution. Things changes. We keep changing the stories. It's just like when you tell a story and by the time it gets to the 10th year, the story is no longer the same. And that's why Jesus came. That's why Muhammad came. So the first messenger, the cosmic messenger came was Krishna. And after Krishna was gone, then these messages were altered as time passed. The messages were circulating through oral preaching by the selected few, and the followers of the prophets relied on these preached messages to know the truth of God rather than finding the truth through their own understandings. To this date, this is the truth about most followers of religion. In order to bring the people, humanity, back to their truth, and then another messenger came, and then after that messenger was gone, then another messenger came, and so on. All these concepts were very foreign to the people at that time, and a lot of people could not understand what he was saying, and they already had some established idea as to what is the truth that was told before him, the messenger that brought these messages before him, when people couldn't understand him and they scorned him, they called him a blasphemous. They were very rude to him, mean to him, and at one point they crucified him. And when he was on the cross, he was breathing his last breath, the bystanders, they took a stick and poked him in the rib cage and on his belly. All that they were doing, Jesus never fought back. He never fought back. He never got angry at them. He never yelled at them or forced them to understand these messages. He was very graceful and kind and loving. And when he was on cross and people were treating him this way, all he was doing, he was praying to God and saying that, God, please forgive them. That's what he was doing. He was forgiving them instead of being angry. So we are familiar with this story, right? There's a concept that needs to be understood about sin, karma, and punishment, how this works. Anytime a person commits anything negative to another person, what it does, that it creates an energy that is in negative nature. Because we are energetic beings, the soul inside us is the energy of God, the light of God, light energy. So anytime we create anything out of our light consciousness, that creates a light energy, something positive. And anytime we create anything negative, or anytime we do a thought, deed, or action that is in negative nature, that creates a negative energy. Negatives are sin. Sin is any thought, deed, or action of ours that keep us away from our light. And these negative energies are very heavy in nature, and they create burden. Now let me tell you the dynamics of this. So let's say a person yelled at me, okay? And that yelling itself is a negative, right? And then when I am on the receiving end and receiving this energy or his yelling, and I'm absorbing this, and that created an emotion inside me where I felt angry toward that person. I felt frustration and I felt sad. So all these are negative emotions. That means these are all creating negative energies inside me. So yes, he created this negative energy when he yelled at me, and when I received this, I also created this energy, negative energy, by being angry, frustrated, and sad. When we both created negative energies, we both sinned or gained negative karma. Thoughts, deeds, and actions are all energies that circulates in infinite pattern. Whatever energy we project out, we receive the same energy in return. Now, these negative energies are on me right now. This is our nature, that we want to get rid of this energy one way or another. So usually what happens is that we take this energy to another person, okay, that we are interacting with. So what I'm doing is that I'm transferring this negative energy that was created by this person that yelled at me, and then I took that energy and I transferred it to another person, and that person is going to transfer it to another person, and the other person is going to transfer it to somebody else. So this energy, negative energy, is being transferred. This is how sin or the negative energy spreads. That when I transfer this energy, this is not gone from me. The build-up energy that I had, that only got transferred. But as long I am keeping this anger, frustration, and sadness inside me, and I will be creating this negative energy constantly as I am reflecting on them and if I'm reliving them. And therefore, I will be taking this negative energy to somebody else. And this is how we spread negativity. And we gain karma, negative karma. Whenever we think, act, react, or do a deed that's negative, we commit sin. So there is a way to stop spreading this negativity. and that is by shining our light on that negative.
How did Jesus remove our sin?
Okay, when this person yelled at me, I have the power to say that I don't want to let this person bother me for whatever he's going through, and I'm going to forgive him and see if I can do something to help him rather than attacking him back or feeling angry at him or getting frustrated and being sad. So what I'm doing, there are two things happening. I am shining my light on him, and I am shining on his negativity, and I am shining my light on my negativity, that the frustration, anger that I am feeling, I'm not letting this go any further, and I'm saying, no, you know what, I'm not gonna let him touch me with his negativity. So I'm shining my light on myself, and I'm shining my light on him. I stopped this negativity going anywhere else. I absorbed it all, and I shone my light. That's how I just made it all disappear. That's exactly what Jesus did. He had that understanding because he was that purified soul. He was not living the human, even though he had a human body, was living the human life, but he died to his human self. He died to his human self, and he awakened his God self inside him. And that God is loving, God is forgiving, God is compassionate, God is kind. Okay, so that's what he was doing. He was forgiving all the people that scorned him, that they were rude to him, mean to him, called him blasphemous. At one sermon, people were throwing rock at him. So what he did, he never fought back. He forgave them. He stopped all these negativities that were projected by all these people on him. He died for their sin. That's what it means. Yes, he also died on the cross. He also went through a physical death. That was also done on a purpose. Remember that he was God. He was giving life to a bird, a clay bird, and he was curing people. Did he not have the power to just disappear when people wanted to crucify him? So that's another story that needs to be talked about in another video. Why he did that? Because he served a very big purpose by dying on the cross, and that served a very big purpose.
The light of God is in all of us. All the virtues of God were displayed by Jesus. Thereby Jesus was the God on earth.
He died so that we can go to heaven. He did not spread that negativity. Now each and every one of us have that power inside us to stop this negativity. And if we die to our human self, where we are not being stimulated by someone's negative action, we are not bothered by someone, we can forgive these people and understand that they are going through something.
Forgiving others will bring you peace, and once you are peaceful, you will find the power within you to love yourself and protect yourself from those who are committing evil against you.
We can be that loving, forgiving, and coming back to purity. That's what it means, to awaken the God inside us. The God is inside us in a form of a soul, the spirit. When the spirit comes to earth, it comes in a form of a soul, and that soul wears a human body. Okay, so that soul is inside us, and we can awaken that soul by our thoughts, our deed and actions that displays the virtue of our heavenly existence. That's how we can awaken the God, just like Jesus did. His blood removes our sin. That means he went through all this pain and suffering for us. He gave his life, his human life, so that we can see him, the example, the model, that someone to follow. This is what we need to follow to come back to our purity, to our God. Okay. So I hope that answered this young lady's question. So when she was reading those two verses and talked about that every man is responsible for their own sin, that is the truth. Okay, Jesus took away their sin because he did not react, or he did not spread that negativity. But the fact that they were going through this suffering within themselves, that cannot be removed by anyone. That something needs to be purified by that person who is feeling that way. It's about heightening your awareness, your consciousness, and become your greatest version, the version of you that is God, your higher self. If someone is yelling at me, I can forgive this person. But for this person has to also need to take the action to take care of himself or herself and remove this negativity from him if he wants to go to back to his heavenly state, in heavenly state of mind. Then he needs to. It's all happening in our thoughts. Remember, the creation begins in our mental space. Everything is here. Our heaven is here, our hell is here.
The hellfire, as stated in religious doctrines, is the result of our negative thoughts, deeds, and actions that we are creating right now.
Whenever we are thinking something good, something peaceful, then we are creating that heaven within us. And whenever we are creating something negative, when we feel hatred, anger, and frustration, we are creating that negativity in us, in our mental space. It's all happening in here, our consciousness. This is the physical mind. The brain is the physical mind. But beyond that, there is consciousness. And we need to heighten our consciousness and come back to that light consciousness that we were in the beginning. And that's where we need to go back. If you want to go to heaven, if you are behaving this way, if you are cursing at someone, you are yelling at someone, you are hurting someone, you are discriminating against someone, then are you displaying your virtues of your heavenly existence? If you are not, then you cannot go to heaven. You see, you are stuck in your mental space. You are stuck there. So even right now, if you're feeling this miserable, and if you die right now, where do you think you will go? If someone is going through this misery in their mind, if they're going through this negativity in their life, they have to overcome them. They have to purify them, cleanse them. So, and the way to do it is to surrender the negativities of the earthly illusions so that we can awaken the God inside us. So there's few things that she mentioned. She talked about the Trinity of God. God is the Trinity, and that Jesus is the only Son of God. So these two subjects I also want to touch, and I want to explain. That's all for this video. I love you all, and I will see you in the other two videos.